Kansas basketball is always solid, and last year's team could have been one of the greatest in program history. With Udoka Azubuike and Devon Dotson now headed to the NBA, and Udoka getting drafted, the Jayhawks will need some guys to step up this season. But I honestly think they'll get it done as usual and be really good during the 2021 basketball season. So today we will talk about this year's Jayhawks squad and why they have national title potential. But first, college basketball videos typically don't do well on YouTube, so be sure to give the video a like, subscribe if you're new, comment your thoughts, suggest a future video topic, share it with your friends, and stay until the end to help the video get in the algorithm. Now let's get started and talk about Kansas basketball. Last year, the Kansas Jayhawks were in their 17th year under head coach Bill Self, went 28-3 overall, and were ranked number 1 in the country before COVID canceled everything. People like to talk about teams like Dayton, Baylor, San Diego State, and Penn State getting robbed, which of course they did. We can't discount the fact that this Kansas team finally felt like they were going to win it all, and there was something special with this team. And the program gets criticized all the time for not being able to win anything and not living up to expectations, and there's just a lot of criticism about that, so this is a big deal for them. I personally was going to pick Kansas to win the title last year, and there was just something different about them than usual, but we will never know what would have happened. The team only lost to Duke, Villanova, and Baylor last year, and had some really good players on the roster. So who did they lose? Well, Devon Dotson averaged 18 points a game and was the leader of the team, but he somehow went undrafted to the Chicago Bulls, and many saw him as a first-round pick, but the NBA is really weird, and sometimes the best players don't even get drafted. They also lost to Udoka Azubuike, who has been one of the best big men in college basketball over the past few years, and he just went with the 27th overall pick to the Utah Jazz. Personally, I thought Dotson was a better pro prospect than Udoka, but we will have to wait and see how everything plays out. They also lost Iowa grad transfer and elite defender Isaiah Moss to graduation. So who's coming in the recruiting class? The most noteworthy guy is 5-star recruit guard Bryce Thompson, who is expected to come in and play a major role right away, and I think he'll be a star and an NBA player in the near future. They also bring in Gethro Muskidin, who is a 4-star big man, and I expect him to play some decent minutes off the bench. Finally, they brought in point guard Latrell Jossel, and he was rated as a 3-star recruit, but some people think he could be a hidden gem. Latrell didn't have any Division I offers until right before signing day, and when Bill Self offered him, he was unranked, but of course, when kids like that usually get an offer and commit like that, they get stars. Some people compare him to Frank Mason, and I personally really hope this kid succeeds, and if one person does well, I hope it's him. They also brought in Tyon Grant Foster, who's a junior college player and played for Indian Hills Community College, and he's a guard who will have some experience, will be able to shoot the ball, and should play good minutes right away. They also had Silvio De Sousa opt out due to COVID, and I find that pretty interesting because his Kansas career has been a complete bust to this point. He's had a lot of issues with the NCAA. He almost hurt someone with a chair last year against Kansas State, and the one time he may finally actually get minutes, he decides to opt out. So this dude is just kind of crazy in my opinion. But who returns for Kansas? Well, Marcus Garrett is expected to have a huge year and will be the next guard in line to break out and be great, and I honestly believe he will. He will follow in the footsteps of guys like Frank Mason, Devontae Graham, and Devon Dotson. Garrett averaged 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, and he was spectacular defensively, and everyone has a lot of high praise for this kid, and a lot of people think he's going to break out. Ochai Agbaji has the highest ceiling on the team and was projected an NBA pick, but he decided to come back to Kansas, and he'll be the number 2 option as he averaged 10 points and 4 rebounds last year. Christian Brown is a pure shooter and will be expected to step up this year, and he's a guy who has the potential to erupt, but he does need to work on some other parts of his game. David McCormack was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school and will be pegged as the next Udoka Azubuike. He'll be expected to block shots, protect the paint, and give the team an inside presence. I expect Thompson, Garrett, Brown, McCormack, and Agbaji to be the starters, but who else do they have? Let's start with the guy who's the best player coming off the bench, and that's former top 100 recruit Jalen Wilson. He only played in 2 games last year before he got injured, and he redshirted. So the former Michigan commit turned Kansas commit will be back and ready to break out this year. At 6'8", he is a wing who could be a legit star at some point, but he's just got to put it all together and get some experience on the court. He likely won't blow up immediately, but he could break out and become one of the team's best players by the end of the year. DeJuan Harris was a guard who blew up late in the recruiting cycle and went to Kansas. He redshirted last year, but I haven't seen a lot of articles saying he will blow up, but he will likely be another guard in the rotation. Mitch Lightfoot is what he is, a scrapper, a leader, and a guy who will play solid minutes off the bench, and the senior will probably play the most minutes of his career this year. Finally, we cannot forget Tristan and Aruna. He played in 30 games last year, but really barely saw the floor. He's of Dutch descent and has some potential, but he's like DeJuan and he's not super hyped up according to one of the articles and Kansas pages I've looked into. Overall, I expect Bill Self to figure it out pretty quickly, as the Jayhawks have to play Gonzaga and Duke in their first few games, and also have a tough non-conference game against Creighton. Kansas basketball is a tradition and a program that is always fun to watch, so I'm excited to see who steps up and how the new guys fit in. They will likely contend for the Big 12 as usual, and will be a top 3 seed in the NCAA tournament when it's all said and done, and Kansas will do what they do every single year. But what do you guys think? How good will this Kansas team? Would last year's team have won the national title? And who do you think will be the best player on this year's roster? Let me know down in the comment section, and before you go, give the video a like if you enjoy college basketball content, subscribe if you're new, there aren't any other channels that talk about this kind of stuff on YouTube, and check out my other college basketball preview type videos on the end screen. I hope to see you guys again soon, but until next time, peace.